Good morning, 大家好. It's an honor to be here within the presence of all our luminaries. I must say, I'm not quite understanding everything that's being said this morning because I work in a totally different realm. I work in the creative business. We're not very good at figures. We're not very good at forecasting the future. All I know is the Dalai Lama said, if you want to know the future, just look at the present, see where we're standing now. You have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. Creative industries has become a very fashionable buzzword, but in Chinese we call it 文化创意产业, which means cultural creative industries. And I find that people who talk about it all the time, really all they really are concerned with is the industry part, which is the money part, which is, you know, and that really does not, you may be surprised, it does not concern us, artists, that much. We don't really care about a lot of what people are saying. So perhaps a definition of creative vision in this beautiful box set of DVDs of my work. 17 DVDs, as you see, gilded letters and my photo on it and my signature on it. I was presented this box in Beijing, and I said, when did we do this? I can't remember when my company put this DVD out. And then this fan of mine said, oh, Mr. Lai, don't be too sad in seeing this. You know, if one day you decide to put out the authoritative version, you know, this is a pirated version. If one day you do decide to do the authoritative version, just copy theirs. So that's probably creative industries. Really, I mean, they did a good job, I have to say. What I do is theater, and that's very different from what I've been listening to because it's a definite handicraft. It's not reproducible. Every night what happens is unique. Every night the actors and the audience share the same space and breathe the same air. It's different from movies, it's different from video games, it's different from any type of entertainment. Although, as Arthur Miller said at the 50th anniversary of Death of a Salesman in New York, he said, unfortunately what Broadway is doing today is entertainment. And what we did in those days was called theater. So there's a big difference. And there's a big difference between what we do and what most of the people in the world are doing. And maybe a quick examination of what we're doing in the present may have something to shed on the future. Taiwan, and of course we're doing great things in all, you know, semiconductors, all these things that I don't understand. But what I do understand is that we have one of the most innovative and free theaters in the world. This photo is from a play of mine called A Dream Like a Dream. The audience is in the middle on swiveling chairs. The play surrounds the audience for 8 hours. And if you think nobody wants to come and see an 8-hour play, we sell out our plays you know, months before we perform. And in fact, our plays are often sold out months before I have written the script, you know, which is rather embarrassing to say, but that's also part of the method that we use. In 2003, I love this photo from the National Theater in Taipei. This is at the height of SARS, and still we have 1,500 people coming in every night to see theater. Really, the restaurants are all empty, the movie theaters are all empty, the train stations, nobody's there. In the theater, we have 1,500 people a night. It's quite amazing. It's, for me, it was quite an emotional experience. I would go on stage every night and address the audience after the show. I would say, thank you very much for coming. Perhaps after this epidemic is gone, we'll look back and we'll see that we shared this evening together in the theater. And that's true, because it was a time of very big fear and terror in society. People risked their lives to come to theater, so this is... The innovations that we've been doing are currently influencing theater in China and tapping the vast potential of the Chinese audience. In Asia, we often didn't have any modern theater. We only have traditional arts. But theater is a living chronicle of an era, and look how much we've changed. The photo on the left is from the 60s, and look at the city that we are living in today, in Taipei. in a way, you can read newspapers, but critics have said maybe watching a play of ours or other people, you can get a better feel of what Taiwan was like in the late 20th century. In the 80s was when I started. Political insecurity had aborted the birth of modern theater. And the traditional theater was being uprooted by phenomenal economic growth, which we see in China, which we see in many countries. We don't see too much in America. I was trained in America at Berkeley, but I went back there and I guest lectured there. I taught at Stanford for 2 years. And nothing, I mean, America doesn't change that much in terms of the way you look at the visual, the images that you see in everyday life. In Asia, we change so much, and so that becomes a fuel for our creativity. Since modern performing arts are young, most countries started, like Hong Kong, even a lot in China, by copying the West, the classics of the West. We started by inventing our own work, and that maybe makes us different from other places. The tool that I use is called improvisation, and it's been talked about a lot, but people really don't understand it. Really, it's a way of dealing with whatever happens. And whatever happens, whatever is happening in society, in the world, that is the material for our plays, for our films, for our work. And to have just one method of dealing with it is not going to work. To have just one person writing down is not going to work. The way I work is I work with a collaborative group of actors and designers, and every single project is different. And I use my own method of improvisation to shape a new work. It's a little complicated, so I'm not going to get too much into detail. To put it simply, I'm a playwright and director, but it happens simultaneously. The last sentence maybe is the only important sentence on this, is that my main preparation is to be ready for whatever happens. In my studio, whatever happens, I have to be ready to process it. The first performance of my group performance workshop was called That Evening We Crosstalked in 1985. 2 people talking on stage. They talked for 2.5 hours. And we thought nobody would want to come. Maybe you would all be interested, intellectuals interested in the death of tradition would be interested in this play. But it turned out to be an enormous success. And the audio tape sold 1 million sets in Taiwan. We only had 20 million people at the time. And I heard that the pirated editions did 5 times as better than the authorized editions. So what was conceived as an experimental work created through avant-garde methods suddenly had become a huge popular hit. And we have continued doing that. We've somehow found a niche between high art and popular entertainment. People say cultural industries, well, we have a play, we make it into a film, we bring in the biggest star, and suddenly it becomes financially viable. The Beijing production of this play of mine called Secret Love in Peach Blossom Land, which is probably my most famous play, has really opened up the market in China. People are copying it, people are trying, well, actually people had performed it 1,000 times before we did it in the authorized version. And I'm quoting the New York Times on that. New York Times also said this may be the most popular contemporary play in China. So we are using it to really change audiences. Our friends who have seen the play look at this photo and say, that's kind of weird. And it was kind of weird, but it was very successful at Stanford, and gives me great confidence that my work can be shown in the West in foreign languages, in English, in German, and whatever. We've also adapted a lot of Western works, like putting Samuel Beckett in an ancient Chinese garden, or putting Cosi fan tutte Mozart in a Shanghai opium den. It's a lot of fun. We did an experiment with television. 1 hour of sitcom a day, prime time, and dealing with the issues of the day. So I made every episode during the day based on the news of the day. So it's like, I don't know, Saturday Night Live, but 1 hour every day. It was crazy. We wanted to do 40 episodes, and we wound up doing 600. So the audience really loved that. Recently, I've done a play called The Village, which has been called by a Beijing critic the pinnacle of our era of theater. And we're proud of that. We're proud of being the most innovative and creative theater in the Chinese world. And this is all coming from Taiwan. Last year, we did the opening ceremony for the Deaf Olympics, which were held in Taipei. And this was a real labor of love for all the artists involved. I was the head. We did a fantastic, this is a fantastic troupe from China, totally deaf, and they do these amazing things. But our homage to the deaf community, to deaf athletes, and to Taiwan was seen around the world, and people really had a lot of nice things to say about it.